now, Mr. Tibbins, you have strong feelings about developing the property here.
Yes.
And usually, from what I gather from our conversation, it's real estate development, not renewable energy development.
Absolutely. You see, I'm a very progressive, forward-thinking developer in the fact that while I don't live in the area,
Sure.
what I do want to develop, I want to develop for the community.
Okay.
I want to be able to have gatherings like this to discuss the type of development that I will eventually build for the community.
Sure.
Something that will be a benefit that the community will embrace, not something that they'll stand back and say, we don't want that in our backyard.
And you have some experience. You've been here a while, you said.
For over 43 years.
43
my company's
years.
been working in the Antelope Valley and promoting the Mojave area particularly. I've spent the majority of my lifetime working in the Antelope Valley and Mojave in particular,
Sure.
and understanding the key corridors where there's flight corridor problems with Edwards,
Sure.
and where there aren't. And I've located myself just outside of those corridors so that I can build that won't interfere with the ongoing activity of the aerospace industry.
Sure, sure, sure.
Very important.
Yes, and this encroaches from the west.
That's correct, and I don't want to. Like I said, I'm a very forward-thinking promoter and developer in that I want to make sure that what I do fits like a glove to the community and isn't sticking out like a sore thumb. And so I located myself in an area that was perfect for that kind of development. I've got a full section of land between 40th and 50th Street West, and from Sunset down south. And that's right where these boys want to put these gigantic windmill monsters.
Sure. Okay.
Not on my watch.
No, and that's why we're having a kind of a public hearing here tonight,
Absolutely.
gathering. So
And
that's good.
I'm trying to align myself with more voices so that I've learned over my tenure in the business that more voices definitely get results.
Well, I don't know if you know Mr. Scrivener, but he, in my opinion, has been very responsive to going out, listening to what people have to say. Now you're right.
Listening is one thing, but acting is another.
Well, this is true. This is true.
And so far, I haven't seen actions to back up his so-called word.
I'm not here to pitch a political message, but I think I'm on to something in terms of theory as to how and why this is important to our government. Why is the government offering these tax credits, these subsidies? And make no mistake about it, that is a fact. These things would not be going up without the subsidies and without the credits. That's a huge and critical distinction. What does the government have at stake here? What are they really trying to accomplish?
Now what you have, think about this, okay? They've seen some of this in Washington, the state of Washington, okay, and Oregon. They put them up here, especially along the ridge lines. They should never put them on the ridge lines. They're effectively increasing the height of the mountain. You know, I think they're planning on putting them in within 150 feet of the Pacific Crest where you walk, where all those people walk. That beautiful, I don't know if it's 1,000 miles, however long it is. They like renewable energy, but they know what's going to happen to their property values, their largest single investment in their life for most people, okay, if they put these things in their backyard. So they want renewable energy, but they don't want it in their backyard. We have so much space, but they want to put it here. The lowest speed at which it can turn, okay, it means a wind speed of 4 meters per second. That's 8.9 miles per hour. 9 miles an hour. That's all it takes to start turning it. The highest speed is 25 meters per second, which is 56 miles per hour. So anything over 56 miles per hour is probably when the machine, for safety reasons, is going to start to lock in. Thank you. Okay. The optimal speed is 15 meters per second, 33.5 miles per hour. Okay? This thing weighs 70 tons, by the way. You know, the life expectancy on these things is only 20 years, but they're getting a 30-year contract, 34-year contract to the BLM. You know why there's so little land being sucked up from the BLM? Because they want to do it through private property. Why? Because it removes a whole lot of aggravation from Fish and Wildlife, the EPA, and people like that. I want to know, where is the Center for Biological Diversity on this? They need to come out here because we are talking literally of hundreds of miles of fence. Because the county allows the companies to decide whether to fence in the individual units or to fence in the whole area. And it's a whole lot more economical to fence in the whole area. In the EIR report, they put yes. Okay? It could be a significant impact. Then they're allowed to say what they're going to do to mitigate that. Okay? Well, we've set this area aside over here for the Joshua trees. That's exactly what the old Mojave plan, and I don't know, it seems to be going up in smoke, but the old Mojave plan, the BLM, set up an area for the desert tortoises to live in. You know what the problem with that is? Nobody's told the tortoise that's where he's supposed to live. They're up in these mountains. You think they're going to count them? Hell no. I'm Seventh Pastor. Example which includes a goal of installing 3,000 megawatts of solar energy capacity by 2016 with a state budget of $2.2 billion in a state that is broke. $2.2 billion. I don't get it. I just don't get it. The U.S. Department of Energy is close to granting loan guarantees to three, this is just three, of the first biggest solar projects in the U.S. Well, the exact value is not guaranteed. Estimates peg this number at around $3 billion. We are talking tons of money. Who do you think is going to pay for that? You are. Everybody here is going to pay for it. And you know why you're going to pay for it? In part because the government has guaranteed them a premium rate on the electricity.
The people were laid off in early January, and they're just going back to work next week. They've been on unemployment from the state of California. I feel sorry for the people being on...
I have to add something to that, because I worked for Blattner for 3 years.
Yes.
Until we came down here, built these B90s. Me and my wife have our daughter, who's 9 months old now. So I got a job at Terrigen.
Yes.
And it wasn't a problem.
But the state of California is paying for people to come from out of state. They get laid off, and basically they're getting their unemployment from our state.
What is it we hope to do in relation to this particular development project? As I read through this EIR from the first one, which is the only information I could get, my view being destroyed has no impact they have to consider because it's only that stuff that affects everybody. And I, as an individual, have no right to complain because of this. They're willing to argue over how to protect bats, but they are not willing to allow us to complain because our property values are jeopardized forever, because the quality of our life is diminished.
Gotcha.
What I see happening here, especially having listened to you, is we've gone from an industry which in the 1980s was infant, where all the hardware was purchased locally in the local stores, and all the workers were contracted locally, and there was a boom in our economy. And I watched whole fields develop where the guy who originated the idea bought the land and he worked on his own turbines, and the whole inspiration of let's go green and let's do wind was exciting and wonderful. Suddenly I see the wind industry in Mojave resembling what Enron did to utilities across the country 10 years ago.
We have to decide where we're going to go from here and what we're going to do. I don't like to cut and run. I don't believe in backing down. I don't believe in compromise. I believe that Mojave has compromised already. Mojave has contributed greatly, okay, to the welfare of Kern County. Mojave has contributed greatly, okay, to the renewable energy progress.